Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel where we talk about healthy mindset for life and business. So today I've got a special treat. My name is Michelle, and what we're going to be talking about here today is something that hits close to home, and it's the dreaded F word. And it's not what you think, okay? It is failure. But hold up, okay? Because this is something we're going to be talking about as to why setbacks are not the end, of the road, but rather the beginning of a very transformative period and a new way of being, okay? So we're going to be talking about 5 areas. Fear of failure is going to be one, how failure can actually help us, and also a few strategies for overcoming it. And also others who have maybe experienced failure at some time or another and have been able to rise above. Also, practical tips about moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into it. So make sure, guys, that you grab a seat, hit that like button, and let's dive in on how we can rise strong and embrace any sort of missteps to thrive beyond any particular setbacks. Okay. All right. So the first thing, the fear of failure. Now, we've all been there, right? It's that stomach dropping, heart racing moment when things just don't go as planned, right? But what if I told you that fear is not your enemy? In fact, it is an ally towards your path to success. So let's talk about fear itself in number 2 as a catalyst for your growth. Fear is a catalyst for your growth, and brace yourself for this one, guys. But the hard truth is things won't always go as we plan them to be, right? Or as we want them to. And it's okay. So take that as the opportunity for you to move forward in an inspired manner and allow yourself to leap and then learn, all right? And then leap again, So to fail, that's okay. It's all a part of the recipe for success. So when you kind of flip that script and see failure as a catalyst versus something that to be afraid of, it's something to get actually excited about. Okay, so a couple things to note there. So instead of fearing the setbacks, why don't we go ahead and we embrace them? Okay, why don't we embrace them and learn from our mistakes and build up that resilience that's necessary so we can bounce back stronger. And I can think of many times that this has happened to me, like in romantic relationships. Like for instance, my growth mindset after I had a failed relationship. I mean, even if you take, for instance, being ghosted, right? I would have never stepped into my value had I never been ghosted before or had an unsuccessful relationship. I wouldn't have made room for a healthier partnership to come my way, right? So there's this old saying that I don't know, and I don't know who said it, but it was something about don't cry because it's over, smile because it's happened. Because I would not have valued myself enough had that experience, taken place. And in fact, you know what? That was Dr. Seuss. That was Dr. Seuss. And how perfect is that? Because it kind of puts it in a comical way to really understand. You might, cry at the moment, for any sort of disappointment or thing that you've experienced, especially in relationships. But then later on, you tend to look back and smile because it's happened. And because you've learned something about yourself that has helped you rise to that next level. It was something that you didn't know for whatever reason or another, but now you do. Right. And it's that theme of knowing, now that you know better, you can do better. Right. And if you're on that growth mindset, that is what you want to keep in mind. All right. Now, also about like work and family, I use that concept of growth mindset in that because if I had never had a manipulative boss or even family member, I would have not have had the guts to break free and start my own business. So where you're at within that. But that is something to think about, right? It was that catalyst for you to be able to step forward and step into that higher level of yourself. All right, whatever that is for you. Now, there are some strategies for overcoming, any sort of failure at times. So a couple things as we navigate through this storm of failure sometimes, let's talk about more practical strategies in terms of a growth mindset. So sometimes you have to lose it all to find out who you are, right? And sometimes that needs to take place. And whatever has happened, whatever happened to you note your comments below, guys. I think it'll be important to talk about that. But okay, so next one I want to cover is some of those success stories to overcome failure. This is a little bit of inspiration, and we all know of individuals who've faced their failures head on, and then they created some sort of victory and emerged, from something like that. So from rock bottom to like a pinnacle of success. Let's, for example, talk about J.K. Rowling. She is a testament, to that magical world of Harry Potter, but she faced a lot of rejection coming up. And she had a lot of financial struggles. She also contemplated suicide at some point. So despite the setbacks during that time, she kept writing constantly. And even after 12 rejections, in the process of this, her Harry Potter series became just a global phenomenon. All right. Now, also another person to keep in mind is I always think of music, and I think of even Ray Charles. At the age of 5, he was diagnosed as being legally blind at that time, and that was due to glaucoma of some sort, I believe. But nevertheless, he taught himself, without being able to see, to be able to play many musical instruments, and he became an iconic figure in writing music. And I think he's had over 17 Grammys and over 10 million records or sold have been sold. It's amazing. It's astounding. And so it's just that great inspiration to know that whatever it is that you want, if you really truly want it, you have the ability to achieve it in some way, shape, or form. So, even creators like myself have different experiences that we go through, right? And a lot of things that we have to overcome. If I could show you outside my window, you'd see a whole half a block of construction that's next to me. It's about 3 feet from my window. And if you can imagine construction going on like all day, right? And then of course, with communal living, sometimes in condos and apartment communities, you're going to find that, you have some noisy neighbors, right? Sometimes that tend to play music a little bit louder than they should, and having to deal with that when the construction's over. So these are little things that, but nevertheless, here we are and here I am, and we continue to keep pushing forward no matter what, right? No matter what that is, make that be that catalyst to want you to push forward and continually to do that, right? So some practical tips in terms of moving forward. One of the key things is there's a lot of tools, right? As task management, as project management, to-do lists, and has a lot of things to do with bookmarking. And I use a company called Notion, and that helps me put my lists. I even put my to-do lists per month, and I put them in chronological order by date, so I know what needs to be done. And I know things might change, but I get so excited, guys, when I'm able to cross something off my list, because it gets me jazzed of how productive that I've been throughout that day. Focus in on some strategies, some everyday things that you can do to keep yourself moving forward. Now, obviously, the main thing is to set goal planning and to set, seek support. And again, like I mentioned, really celebrate your wins. And the things that help me in terms of my goal planning for myself, wow, I really focus on using, and I do that every day. So that planning is something very important. So you'll see the link in the description box below. Another thing that I do that really helps me a lot is setting a vision. And I meditate on this vision daily. And it's the first thing that I do in the morning before my feet hit the floor. All right. Meditating. So I do listen to a little bit of music that puts me in the mind, and I focus in on my vision. Okay. And yes, I have even a vision board that I collect screenshots from. I collect things that remind me of my vision of what I want. And I physically paste it onto a big, kind of blackboard. And then I also keep it in my mind's eye. And I look at that every single morning when I wake up, and that reminds me of things, and it's exciting. And sometimes on the weekends, I'm adding I focus in on things that I've screenshot, and I print them out, and I actually put them on my vision board, because I would need something physical and tangible to hold on to. Okay. I can't just see it. I want to hold on it and see it in the physical world in front of me. And that allowed me, guys, to, one of the things on my list was going to Grammys, and I went to the dress rehearsal for the Grammys. Grammys this year, and I was so excited. I was so excited, and it happened in the most perfect timing. So be patient with yourself. Make sure that you have, make sure that you are you having some sort of meditation or vision as you set that vision and revisit it, as much as you can. I do it on a daily basis because it keeps me in check. The next thing I do is, like I said, I take pictures of quotes and things like that, and I add it to it. So I do that. But most importantly, the biggest thing that I do is remind myself to breathe. I remind myself to breathe through the process on times where, things I might experience a few bumps, and then it kind of gets down to normal, because energy shifts all the time, and your energy shifts in the work that you do. And it's important to breathe and work with the flow, right? And let that carry you in the process. So if you feel yourself winding up a little bit more, then it's about, turning the volume down on that a little bit more and recognizing that. How is that going to help me get towards my goals, right? Because if you let that take control of you, then it kind of sets you up for failure of making rash decisions and different things like that. So keep that in mind. How about you guys in terms of the situation? Like, write a comment below of what you've learned after maybe some particular challenging situation, and share the growth with each other. So in conclusion, the journey from fearing failure to embracing it as a powerful source of, growth, and a powerful force of growth, that, notice on how you have overcome your own setbacks. And because success does not have to always deal with just, money or status. It's there to remind you of having the courage to persevere no matter what. No matter what's outside, no matter what's upstairs, what's going on, it's a reminder. Am I going to persevere in that moment? And you get to make that decision. No one else but you can do that. So it's not about, being perfect. It's not, it's about making and never making mistakes, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. Even if you fail the test at some time or another, and you still keep studying and eventually you pass that is a success too. No matter how small, count that as a success. All right. Because every little one leads to the bigger ones. Okay. So it's about learning from your mistakes so you can become stronger in the end. Okay. So I think it was Sugar Ray Leonard that said, if you have never failed, then you have never succeeded. And that was really poignant, because let's use those setbacks as stepping stones for your success. Okay. And if you found this helpful, guys, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Note your comments below. I want to hear about your journey, and I want to hear about your setbacks that you've had and how you conquered those setbacks. All right. Give the inspiration to others around you or for each other. And remember that every setback is just a set up for something greater. So, definitely keep rising, staying strong and inspired. And I look forward to seeing you next time.